Richard celebrates his first full week in San Diego by making his second ever start in a Padre uniform. Padres have won 5 straight at home over the Mets, so Inspector Fryer hoping to bowl over these Mets tonight. It's the Padres and the Mets, and it comes your way next. The longest homestand of the 2009 season continues tonight with a visit from the struggling New York Mets. We welcome you to Petco Park on another delightful summer night just ahead of Game 1 of this 4-game series against the Metropolitans. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Petco Park. Steve Quist in for Mark Neely tonight alongside the Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn. Last couple of weeks, it's been a lot of fun to watch this Padre team because you think of the future. They've done a nice job on the mound. They've also done a nice job offensively. The slugging percentage up a bit.
Yeah, no question. You see in the last 10 games, 25 doubles, 6 triples, 13 home runs. The slugging percentage is up. They've homered in 9 of the last 10 games, and they've had a double in at least in the last 14 games. And so offensively, they're starting to get a feel for what they have to do on a daily basis here. And they've been really productive, so we hope that they can keep doing it.
The Mets is the opponent. That means Livan Hernandez will be on the hill tonight for the Mets. A familiar face that San Diego has seen now for, this will be the 25th time.
Yeah, and this matchup tonight is a lot like Tuesday's matchup against the Braves when they face Javier Vasquez. Livan Hernandez is going to change speed. His changeup and his breaking ball tonight are going to be very important. But you see in his last 5 starts, he's kind of struggled. So offensively, they're going to have to be very patient tonight.
It is time now for the Union Tribune pitching matchup. You know half of it. 34-year-old Livan Hernandez against the newest Friar, Clayton Richard. Go beyond the game. Go to Padres.uniontrib.com. Stay with us. The first pitch of the starting lineups from Petco Park come your way next. You back at Petco Park on a glorious summer night as you get a picture of the beach here in San Diego, just ahead of the series opener with the Mets. A Mets team the Padres took 2 out of 3 from back at Citi Field in April. Time to take a look at the Mets starting lineup. And Tony, they had posted 2 of these in the clubhouse before the game, waiting to see if Gary Sheffield's hamstring was good enough to allow him to play in this game. Pagan, Cora Wright, Francoeur, Tatis, Murphy, Santos, followed by Angel Baroa, and then the pitcher Livan Hernandez. And they're going to take their swings tonight against Clayton Richard, making his 2nd start in a Padre uniform. Pagan hits it right side. Eckstein over to his right a few steps. 2 pitches, 1 out. Good start for Clayton Richard tonight.
And he works quickly, as we've just found out. You see his numbers with the White Sox. I thought he threw the ball pretty well early on in his last start. He went 5 2/3. The last inning and 2/3, I thought he started to tire a little bit just from probably all the travel and the excitement of playing on a new team. But he throws strikes, and he was all around the strike zone in his last start.
Alex Cora, the batter now. Now, you and I had just mentioned this kid even warms up quickly.
Yeah.
We didn't even get all our business in right away. And we start again prior to 7:05 with Richard on the hill. Oh-2 pitch. And that is hung on to a foul tip, and Richard has his first strikeout of the evening. Well, as we mentioned, Clayton Richard, he started on Friday night, make it Saturday night against the Brewers, retired the first 10 Brewer hitters to face him, and didn't allow a hit until 1 out in the 5th inning. Well, that's some real good stuff.
Yeah, good sinker, good slider. Works quickly, so your defense is going to love playing behind him.
Batter now, David Wright, opens play tonight, 3rd in the National League with a .328 batting average. Talking to Buddy after the ball game, after Richard's start on Saturday, he said fastball that darted, I loved it, produced ground ball outs when he needed to get it. Good changeup. Buddy's saying, the breaking ball was okay. It's in there. We're going to find it. But for a first start, going 5 2/3 against a powerful Brewers team.
I agree. I just think the way you described that fastball, I think at the big league level, that's what you got to have. You got to have a fastball that you can, work inside to the right-hand hitters, run into the left-hand hitters. His ball is not straight, and it looks like a heavy ball, like a ball that, it's kind of hard to square up. And, like I said the other day, I thought he threw the ball extremely well, and hopefully, he'll get better.
Certainly faced some challenges after giving up that hit in the 5th inning. Threw a lot of first pitch strikes to 7 of the first 10 batters he faced. Then after that, a majority of first pitch balls from the 4th through the 6th inning. And as a result, didn't go as deep as I think he would have liked to have gone.
And that's why it's important that he pound that strike zone. When he can get ahead, that gives him more options.
Misses inside with a pitch right there. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 86 miles an hour on the slider from Richard. And Wright again sends another foul ball out of play out of the second deck.
David Wright's got to feel like the last of the Mohicans. He's one of the few healthy guys left in this New York Met lineup.
3-2 home, in the air to center, and Tony Gwynn leaping and making a grab for the final out. Richard, a 13-pitch opening frame against the Mets. Half inning gone by, Mets nothing, Padres coming up. Well, you look at that picture right there, Tony. It feels like we're in New England, maybe in Connecticut, playing at Citi Field, where the Padres were successful, having won 2 out of 3 in the opening month of the season. Clayton Richard, 13 pitches to dispose of the Mets in order in the top half of the first inning. And Tony Gwynn will start things against Livan Hernandez, who's making his 21st start of the season. He of the 59-mile-per-hour curveball at times.
And he's going to change speed, so hitters going to have to be patient tonight. Livan Hernandez has pitched with Arizona, pitched with Colorado, so the Padres have seen him. And much like it was the other night, like I said, Vasquez had a little bit more velocity, but Hernandez is going to mix it up. And you see the changeup, 77 miles an hour, and so he's usually around the plate, but he's a guy that is going to give up base hits. That's kind of part of what he does. He's not really worried about.
Speaking of base hits, there's a gapper. Frank CORA will cut it off. He's got a great arm. 8 outfield assists, and he'll hold Tony Gwynn to a lead single here in the first inning. Let's peruse the Padre lineup here on this Thursday night. David Eckstein, Adrian Gonzalez follow Gwynn. Kuzmanoff in the cleanup spot. Will Venable, who's been red hot, will hit 5th, followed by Chase Headley, Henry Blanco, Everett Cabrera, and then the pitcher Clayton Richard. And there's the 34-year-old Livan Hernandez, 34 years in Caribbean years.
He's 7-5. You see the 120 innings, 138 hits. So, he's going to give up some hits. Opponent's hitting 300, but, usually he's around the strike zone. He's going to try to make you hit his pitch. And, from the Padres standpoint, you're going to get something in the strike zone. So if they can put the ball in play tonight, hopefully they'll have a chance to put some runs on the board.
David Eckstein is the batter. And he looks at strike 1. Hernandez was signed as a minor league free agent this past February after splitting last season with both the Rockies and the Twins. You add up his numbers, the ERA in 31 starts wasn't anything to write home about, but he did manage to win 13 games. He was 13-11. Eckstein shoots it to right. Frank CORA on his way over, dives, and it goes off his glove into the Mets bullpen. Eckstein right behind Gwynn, who rounds second, heads to third, and a good start for San Diego. Second and third, nobody out in the Padres' opening half of the first.
Well, Eck took this ball right down the right field line, and Jeff Frank CORA ran a long way. He hits that ball trying to go to right field. Hits that ball right towards the line. Frank CORA goes a long way, and it goes off his glove. Yeah, Anthony was, kind of caught in between. He had to wait to make sure that ball wasn't caught. And when it wasn't caught, he was able to get all the way to third base. But we talked in the open about the Padres and their extra base hits. There's another one.
2 in scoring position now for Adrian Gonzalez. And he'll look at the first one off the plate. Livan Hernandez is 12-5 in his career in 24 previous games against San Diego with an ERA a shade above 4. And last year at Coors Field, Padres roughed him up in August. They had a good start. Before you know it, they were out 11-0 on Hernandez almost a year ago to the day.
Well, that last pitch Livan threw that Adrian fouled off, he wasn't real happy with the location of it. Here's Randy Reddy. Got to be happy with what he's seen so far, these young hitters.
Patience on the part of Adrian right there. 2 balls and 1 strike. Adrian's had 22 career at-bats against Livan Hernandez. And Livan has won a majority of those outings. 5 for 22 lifetime is what Adrian is. Takes a healthy cut and a miss. It's 2-2.
Where Santos is setting up. Adrian looked like he tried to take that ball to left field.
Adrian sprays that one out of play, a high fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That clocked at 89 miles an hour for Hernandez, who's working with an extra day's rest. Pitched last Friday night at Citi Field against the Diamondbacks. No decision despite allowing just 2 runs over 6 innings. Threw just 81 pitches. And he left because of a bases-loaded situation in the bottom half of the 6th inning for a pinch hitter in a very tight game. And that missed. 3 balls and 2 strikes now.
Vaughn wasn't, after a steady diet of balls on the outer half of the plate, he tried to sneak a fastball inside. And I don't think he was too happy with that last call, but
3-2 plate where it's swung on and hit in the air to center field. Angel Pagan is out there in center. That's going to get a run home. The throw will be cut off before it gets to third. Tony Gwynn scores. And a good start for the Padres here in the first against the Mets. They lead it 1-0. I'll show you who's working behind Livan Hernandez. The Mets defense is brought to you by SD Storage, where $1 moves you in. Go to SDStorage.com to find a store near you. Tatis, Pagan, and Frank Cora in the outfield. Look at up the middle, Baroa and Cora. Angel Pagan playing a nice center field in place of Carlos Beltran, who's been on the disabled list now almost 2 full months.
And that's a nice job by Adrian Gonzalez, getting himself a ball that was elevated, drives in the run. Eckstein gets over to third. Nice execution there by the Padres, and here in the bottom of the first.
Infield now drawn in halfway for Jerry Manuel's Mets as Kevin Kuzmanoff comes to the plate. That run batted in, by the way, for Adrian Gonzalez, his 62nd of the season. And Kuz hits one off the end of the bat. I'd love to see 67 miles an hour. That looked almost like the 59 mile an hour curveball I spoke about.
Yeah, it looked slow, and that's the thing. He's going to keep you off balance. This is a RBI opportunity for Kuzmanoff, and look how much he takes off that breaking ball. I mean, that's right off the end of the bat. I mean, that's off the very end, not nowhere near the barrel, off the end of the bat. And so, him being able to change speeds like he does makes his fastball a little bit quicker. The key will be, can he keep that ball in the strike zone? Because when he has this ball in the strike zone, when he can change speeds in the strike zone, the hitter has to, in the back of his mind, he's planted the seed with that breaking ball, and that's going to make his fastball a little bit better.
Here's the 2-1 home to Kevin Kuzmanoff, and it missed off the plate. 3 balls and 1 strike. Had to be a sleepless night for this guy after yesterday's day game against the Braves. Hit into 3 double plays, which tied a franchise record for double plays hit into in one game. Steve Garvey on that list. Arky Cianfranco as well.
To be honest, I was kind of surprised I'm not on that list.
Really?
Yeah.
You would have been the last person I would have picked. Here's the 3-1. That's pulled to left. That's a base hit. It's going to be 2-0 San Diego as Kuzmanoff drives in his 60th of the season.
And that's a nice job by Kuzmanoff, being patient. Like we talked about, Padre hitters are going to have to be patient tonight and, force him to have to throw the ball over the center of the plate. Here he tries to get under his knuckles with a fastball, running it in. And Kuzmanoff is able to get the barrel to it very nicely. Pull this ball in the left field for a base hit.
And here's the hottest San Diego Padre going, Will Venable. His first at bat of the night. Will with another home run yesterday. His 6th of the season, his 5th in his last 7 games.
And he's hit the ball out, and he's hit the ball out to right, and he's hit the ball out to left.
He's going to send a little flare into shallow left. Angel Baroa is out for it. He'll make the catch, and that's out number 2. Retreating to first is Kuzmanoff. Chase Headley will stroll plateward. Good start for San Diego here in the last half of the first inning. By the way, where'd those clouds come from all of a sudden?
I know.
It was a glorious summer night when we started. Just within the last minute.
We were talking about humidity today.
Should have invited John Coleman into the booth tonight to help us out. They were not there, honest to goodness, 3 minutes ago.
Yeah, it just seemed like an hour ago, this bright sky. There's Headley. Ooh, right off the top of his foot.
Every time I see that, I think of Cold Spray.
Back in the day, they don't do that anymore. Yeah, they realized it didn't do anything.
Did you have that often?
Back in it, not very often. I had it in college once, and they spray that stuff on there, and I had a nice burn on my ankle, and never wanted it again.
So it numbs the pain.
Oh yeah, it numbs the pain immediately.
But the after effect is
if you put too much on it, then you get a burn.
Ah.
And so trainers used to carry that stuff all the time, and it just numb it up real quick. But
oh, you guys were so much tougher in those days. Strike one pitch home to Chase Headley, the switch hitter. And that darts out of the strike zone. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tell you what, when Livan Hernandez is going good, even at 34 years old, I mean, he's at one point this season he was 5-1 with an ERA just over 3, and then every third or fourth start he'll have just a horrendous outing where he gives up 6-7 earned runs.
Yeah, well, and that's going to happen. I was looking at his career numbers, and in 8 of the 10 years he's given up more hits than innings pitched. And the key offensively when you're facing him is patience. You just got to wait him out, because if he's one of those guys that takes your aggressiveness and uses it against you.
Yeah.
And so he's going to change speeds. He's going to try to locate the fastball.
This is our third 3-ball count of the inning, and that's a base hit out of the diving reach of Alex Cora. Stopping at second will be Kuzmanov. They're at first and second. 2 outs for the 7th place hitter, Henry Blanco.
And that's what I'm talking about, patience. You work the count. You put him in a situation where he's got to throw a strike. And Headley doesn't try to do too much with that ball. It's in the middle of the plate, and he goes right back up the middle with it. Very nice.
Already the 4th hit of the inning for San Diego. It's produced a couple of runs. And Blanco, who's in there tonight because he's got good career numbers against Hernandez, 6 for 18, gets a chance. Almost a 1-to-1 ball-to-strike ratio for Livan Hernandez here in the opening frame. He's thrown 26 pitches. Fastball in the air, shallow right field. Frank Cora will have it. This should be the final out of the inning. A very productive inning for San Diego. They send 7 to the plate. They get 2 runs on 4 hits, and they lead the Mets 2-0.
Hey, fans. Hey fans, start your weekend off with a bang with Friday fireworks. Enjoy a spectacular fireworks show following every Friday home game.
That's right, Kevin. Friday, August the 7th, stay after the game for a Friday fireworks presented by Padres Banking at Bank of America. Plus, the Padres will honor Ricky Henderson before the game. I think you're going to take part in that celebration. This is Jeff Francoeur to lead things off here in the Mets half of the second. Metropolitans down 2-0. Francoeur came over in a trade a few weeks ago from the Atlanta Braves. He's done a nice job. This is his 23rd game. He's driven in 19. And Richard makes quick work of him. He goes up the ladder for a fastball and misses. 2 strikeouts for Richard early on. And that'll give way to Fernando Tatis.
Yeah, we talked about how quickly he worked. Jumped ahead 0-2, went up the ladder. Got Francoeur to chase the high fastball.
4 pitches to dispose of Francoeur, and Tatis looks at ball 1. Fernando Tatis, the 2008 Comeback Player of the Year in the National League, playing left field. A lot more opportunities. Later on in the game, we're going to talk about all the injuries the Mets have had. There have been a lot.
Yeah.
We figured, as we talked about in the pregame show, about $60 million sitting there on the disabled list right now. That's what, $20 million more than San Diego's payroll.
That's more than a bunch of teams. And when that happens, guys like Fernando Tatis, get an opportunity to play. Tonight it's left field. He played some first base. And with Gary Sheffield out and Castilla out, Jerry Manuel has to try to piece together a lineup. Just try to go out here and put some runs on the board. And tonight, Tatis is in left field. Like you mentioned, Comeback Player of the Year last year.
2-2 home, and it missed. Full 3-2. 2 pitches ago, we saw that nice changeup by Richard.
Yeah, I think Richard's going to start to feel more comfortable out there. Start to see all the pitches that he has in the vault.
Tatis hits it into the corner, and that's going to get all the way to the wall. He's around first on his way to second, and he'll be in there with a 1-out stand-up double. A moment ago we were talking about big payroll teams in the Mets with all those guys on the disabled list. Well, the Yankees are a big payroll team, and they just picked up Chad Gaudin. The Padres have traded the right-handed pitcher to the New York Yankees for a player to be named later or cash. That's a post-waiver wire deal. And that man right there, Bud Black, had his contract extended through 2010 with a club option for 2011.
Well, congratulations, Buddy Black. Getting an extension. He's a teacher. I think he's, will be good for this young group of guys.
That'll bring up Daniel Murphy, the left-handed batting first baseman. 1 ball and 1 strike. I'd agree with you. I'm down with that move. I don't think you can pin the struggles of San Diego last couple of years on that man's shoulders.
No way. You can't. I'm very happy for him.
Bouncer back over second. Cabrera has it on the run and will throw out Murphy. Advancing down to third will be Tatis. However, there are 2 outs. And again, we see another ground ball out there, which Bud Black spoke of in the opening start against the Brewers for Richard.
Yeah,
loved how that darting fastball could get it.
And you saw how Cabrera ate up a lot of ground to get to that ball and make the nice throw to first base. Murphy bounced that ball right over the pitcher's head. Normally on a ball like that, it's going to get through in the center field, but Cabrera's good range, good arm.
Omir Santos, the catcher, is the batter. This guy's having a great start to this season. They've used a number of catchers. Against left-handed pitching, he will start. Brian Snyder against right-handed pitching will start. That's in the air to right, playable for Venable in front of the track. And Richard, who gave up a double with 1 out in the second, keeps Tatis right there at third. 2-0 San Diego.
Don't miss seeing us battle the New York Mets Saturday, August 8th at 7:05 and get one of these great Padres Hall of Fame caps.
All fans in attendance will receive a free Padres Hall of Fame cap presented by the California Lottery. Plus, Dick Williams will be inducted into the Padre Hall of Fame before the ball game. We mosey along to the last of the second. San Diego sent 7 to the plate in the first inning, produced a couple of runs against Livan Hernandez, Everett Cabrera, Clayton Richard, and then Tony Gwynn, and the top of the lineup scheduled here in the second. Those are good seats, Tony.
Chilling right there.
I wonder who they know. Who do those two kids know?
Paying attention to the game, too.
Smart enough, yeah, to have a glove. On one hop for the shortstop, Angel Baroa, and he'll throw out the speedy Cabrera for out number 1. Oh, starting him early. Got to teach him the term, the freaking Mets. I was back in New York this time last week listening to a lot of sports radios, and I actually thought they changed the name to the freaking Mets.
Well, I don't know what people could expect. I mean, with the injury list, Beltran, Delgado, Maine, Neese, Reyes. I don't know how you could expect this team, to stay right there in the thick of it. And, part of the deal is that, in the Central for a while there, nobody really ran away with. Nobody had gotten hot. And they've had to pretty much have a makeshift lineup here almost all year long. So, until they start getting some of these guys back, here's Gary Sheffield.
Richard stays alive. Well, besieged by injuries, 10 on the disabled list as they start play tonight. With Gary Sheffield having a bad ham. He took himself out of a game yesterday in New York against the Cardinals. Luis Castilla, 2 days ago, sprained his ankle in the dugout.
Yep.
Mike Pelfrey is back with his wife. She's giving birth. I mean, honestly, I have sources at the White House talking to Britt Yoon today that said President Obama is actually thinking about scrapping his health care reform plan until that man's team gets all its players back. The country might run out of money.
It's going to take a while. They're expecting to get Billy Wagner and Carlos Beltran sometime this month.
Hernandez finally wins the battle against Clayton Richard. That's strikeout number 1 tonight for Hernandez. 2 down, that'll bring up Tony Gwynn. We'll follow the road to Wintersville to Sequan every Monday and Wednesday, now through August the 12th, and win a share of over $500,000 in cash and hot Corvettes. Tony Gwynn, 1 for 1, scored the game's opening run on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Adrian Gonzalez in the first. He's owned Hernandez, 3 for 5 in his career.
No, never say own.
Right.
You never
can't say that with Dad in the booth.
No, you never say own. You just say you see the ball well. Or
who did you see the ball best against? Was it Honeycutt?
There was a few, but you see the ball well. That's
still
all.
Won't talk about
it. Oh no. Just happy to see Anthony get that beard trimmed up a little bit. It was out of hand for a while. Yeah, that's a little better.
Speaking of beards, the Mets as a team have decided they're not going to shave until they get back to 500. That might be the middle of next season, the way they're going. High bouncer, that's going to be fielded foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gets a lot of the wives not the least bit happy about that. It's cool and all in the media, but when you get home and you have to listen to your significant other talk about it.
Well, they must have just started. For some of them, they just started.
This was an edict that came down about 10 days ago.
I could not do that.
That'd be itchy.
Oh, yeah.
Tony looks at one off the plate. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Mets also had to make a trade today as well. We talked about the Padres trade, but Mets went out and got Anderson Hernandez, an infielder from the Washington Nationals. Back of third And David Wright is going to glove it just before getting on the track. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Hernandez here in the second, his first of the evening. It remains 2-0 San Diego. Here we go to open up the top half of the third inning. Angel Baroa, Levon Hernandez, and then Angel Pagan, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Mets. They trail 2-0. Clayton Richard about to throw his 30th pitch in what is his second start for San Diego. Guy was a quarterback at Michigan, and I was doing a little research today. And, you know, for the longest time I was racking my brain when they made this Peavy deal. Why do I know this guy? Why do I, I don't watch much White Sox baseball. I didn't pay particular attention to his starts, but he was actually a quarterback for Michigan when the Aztecs went to the Big House in September of 2004 and nearly pulled the upset of the Wolverines.
I was there.
Off the fist, out of play.
I was at that game, standing on the sidelines. And you're right, we should have won that game.
Now, what I can't figure out is he was the backup to Chad Henne, but he did play in the game. He was 3 out of 4, 17 yards passing. And, normally, if it's a tight game and the backup quarterback goes in, it's on the last drive, and he's not going to throw 4 times. And I was going to ask him today, but again, there's always that rule, and I hate to break it about, talking to a starting pitcher on the day he pitches. So make it a point to find out about it, as that's hit on a couple of hops to short. And that's another ground ball out for Richard here in the start. Time for our opponent's history. It's brought to you in part by San Diego County Credit Union, your local financial partner for over 70 years. And the Mets are going to start play today, 5 games under 500, so the beards aren't coming on for at least a week. And, more importantly, they're going to be looking up at the likes of Philly, Florida, and Atlanta.
Yep.
It's just about over.
And it's, again, unless you're going to get Delgado and Beltran and Reyes back in there quickly, it's going to be very difficult. And I'm sure for the Mets, this is one of those series where they felt like they could come out and make their run back towards 500.
Take 3 out of 4.
Exactly, and move on. But the Padres have jumped out to an early 2-0 lead.
I think what most of the fans in New York are a little unsettled about is the fact that the trading deadline came and went without them doing anything significant. And if you listen to talk radio there, as Richard walks the opposing pitcher on 4 pitches. A moment ago we were talking about how far back and all the looking up that the Mets are going to do. There are the standings. And they're presented by Firestone, a tradition of innovation. And Phillies actually won today a day game, so they're 61-45. They beat Colorado at home. 10.5 back with all those teams in front of you. I don't even think you can start talking wild card.
I don't either. But you know what? Now you understand why they're growing the beards, because if you don't know if you're going to be a wild card contender, you can't really even say that until you get back to 500. But I just think Philly's the strongest team in that division. They went out and picked up Cliff Lee, and he won today, so he's 2-0 for Philly. The Marlins, good young club. The Braves, we just saw them. They picked up LaRoche. They're starting. They got a veteran club. They could make a run.
This is Pagan, and he looks at a fastball at 91 miles an hour. And it missed. 2 balls and no strikes.
I see Pagan's been on fire here. 6 for his last 12. A couple of bombs.
Third different starting center fielder that they've tried on a regular basis. Carlos Beltran, of course, with the injury. He's got the bone bruise on his right knee. He's been out since June the 22nd. Jeremy Reed had a shot, didn't work out. And here's Angel Pagan, and as you mentioned, on fire, 11 RBI in his last 5 games. Runner down at first in Livan Hernandez. And that's a base hit in the 5.5 hole out to left field. The Mets have something going with 1 out here in the 3rd. To the next station goes Hernandez as Pagan gets his first hit of the game. It is the 2nd for the Mets. That's going to give way to Alex Cora now with runners at 1st and 2nd. See what Cora's done over his last 8 games. Filling in, at least trying to fill in admirably for Jose Reyes. Easier said than done.
Yeah. And this is a team coming off a homestand, too, where they were at home, they were comfortable.
10-gamer.
Yep. Long homestand, kind of get their strokes in order.
They had a big 4-game series against Arizona at home last week. They didn't fare too well. I think they thought they'd make a run there. Cabrera snags it. He's going to double off Hernandez at 2nd, and that will take care of the Mets in the 3rd. They get a couple on, no damage, as Cora lines out into the double play ball. 2-0 San Diego as we move to the home half of the 3rd.
Ballpark on Sunday, August 9th, as we take on the New York Mets at 105 and receive a free Padres mini bat.
All kids 14 and younger will receive a Padres mini bat presented by Cox Channel 4 San Diego. Visit Padres.com to get your tickets now. John Weisbart's at the studio right now, engraving all of them by hand. So we're hoping for 42,000 to show up that day. I think he's got about 27,000 done.
The light will be on all
Burning
night.
the midnight oil, right? David Eckstein leads off, and he's already ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. Gonzalez and Kuzminoff to follow. It gets to be about that time of the year we can start talking about, next season and what the plans might be for a guy like David Eckstein as he draws a leadoff walk. Hernandez walks his first of the ball game.
Well, I love what he brings to the table every day, and really you have to see this club play on an everyday basis to really appreciate all the things that he brings. Not only, a solid job at second base, but a work ethic that you want your young guys to follow. And, you hope that he wants to stay.
Adrian Gonzalez, the batter, looks at a strike. Well, you look up and down the minor league system, you see Matt Antonelli there in the upper echelon of the minor league system, but, probably could use maybe another half season of seasoning next year. If not, maybe a little more.
And that's always going to be the, obviously you want to, bring your young guys who you think are ready. And I'm sure that'll be a question that the Padre brass, when they sit down and they look at this club at the end of the year, they will ask that question.
That'll catch the corner. Ball and 2 strikes to Adrian Gonzalez. First time up, worked the count full, and then got a fastball to his liking and sent it into center field for a sacrifice fly, scoring the game's first run.
Good. You see Hernandez, for the most part, he's going to try to keep the ball away. Every now and then he'll try to sneak one fastball middle of the plate, but he's going to make you hit his pitch.
That's hit deep into center field. Pagan going back on it. That ball is gone. A 2-run home run for Adrian Gonzalez, and the Padres have taken a 4-0 lead.
Man, and Adrian just makes that look so easy. Didn't overswing, got the pitch he was looking for. See, a 29th home run. And like a lot of the latest ones, it's going on the left side of center field. He wanted that ball away and got more of the middle. Boy, that's beautiful right there. Nice extension.
Tell you what, I think the 2 days off back-to-back, although he played as a defensive replacement in one of them, did wonders for him.
Well, I hope so. You're going to need his bat.
29 home runs, 64 runs batted in. He's got 3 RBI in this game. Climbing up the National League leaderboards in home runs. And you can just see that swing is back. And he's always professed to me, I hit him in bunches. I think good things to come on the rest of this homestand. Kuzminoff will ground one out to short. He's out number 1 here in the 3rd. Got to give way to Will Venable now. Does he go back in and check that at bat?
I wouldn't. When you hit a home run, obviously you've done something right, so you really don't have to.
Adrian with his 4th career home run against Livan Hernandez. That's a strike. Let's go back to yesterday, a day game. And this is Will Venable, his 5th homer in his last 7 games. Came off of promising young right-hander Tommy Hanson of the Braves.
He's coming. Venable, to me, he's a guy who has benefited from the playing time because now he's kind of gotten to a rhythm. He made a subtle adjustment to me with his stance, and I meant to get down here early today to ask him about it, but just looks like a subtle adjustment from the waist up. He kind of straightened up and is standing tall, and since then he's really swung the bat well.
You speak about rhythm. I don't think you can underestimate what it's like to just get daily at bats, 4 or 5 a game, because he was splitting some significant time with the likes of Blanks.
Well, they're all of them, really. Little Tony and Blanks, Headley, Venable. Kind of a four-man rotation. And you start to get some consistent at-bats, and you kind of get a chance to figure out, okay, what is it that I need to do when I'm standing up there at the batter's box, and how is it that they're attacking me? And you can see the improvement, really, in all of them. Headley's starting to swing the bat a lot better, too.
At about what at-bat plateau does it start to slow down?
See, that's a good question right there, because I always thought 100 at-bats gives you an idea about, what you should do. And
good patience there. He draws the second walk of the inning against Livan Hernandez. 1 on, 1 out.
Venable just passed the 100 mark not too long ago. And Blanks is sitting right at 100. Where GWYNN and Headley, Anthony's got about 240. Headley, I believe, is over 300, 340. And, it's different for each guy. Really it's just consistent playing time.
Time for our Marvin K. Brown comparison, brought to you by Marvin K. Brown, San Diego's newest Mitsubishi dealer. And this is what we were talking about a moment ago. I guess the learning curve, you said 100 at-bats. Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like it's at 60 here for Will Venable, who last year had 110 at-bats.
Well, here's the thing about those 60s. The first 60 were sporadic, where the last 60 have been pretty consistent. His name's been in the lineup every day. He's throwing them out there against lefties and righties. And now, all of a sudden, I think the home run he hit in Cincinnati to left field is the swing that really got him going, where he thought, okay, I can hit the ball that way.
Chase Headley, the batter now, 1 out, 1 on. Venable down at first. I think you could make that same argument for the first 54 at-bats with Kyle Blanks. And his second 50 at-bats have just been terrific. We've all been witness to it. So both these guys about the same time kind of figured it out, 54 to 60 at-bats.
Well, for Venable, he had last year to kind of go back to. Where Blanks this is his first crack at it. And the way it works is the more you get, the better you get at it. The more at-bats you get, the more you start to figure out how they're trying to pitch you. The other thing is, even when you're not playing, you're still seeing Major League pitching. You're seeing what Major League pitchers do against hitters. And those guys come back to the bench and have conversations about it.
Yet another 3-ball count here in this inning. It's the 6th 3-ball count of the game, and it is the 3rd of the inning. 65 pitches already for Hernandez. Mind you, an extra day's rest. Last pitch last Friday against Arizona, threw 81 pitches and got through 6 full. There goes Venable from first, and he walked him. Hernandez walks his 3rd of the inning. Dan Worthen, the pitching coach here for the Mets, who used to be the pitching coach for the Padres in the early 90s in Las Vegas, and also was one of their minor league pitching instructors. And it goes back to your days here in San Diego, so you probably know him quite well.
And I'm sure Dan is telling him, hey, you got to get in the strike zone. You're a much better pitcher when you're pitching ahead. You can't continue pitching behind the hitters like this, so come on, you got to start throwing some strikes.
And that man does not need a short outing, especially after what happened yesterday. He had to call on Nelson Figueroa in a day game against the Cardinals at Citi Field to throw 4 1/3 in relief, so basically check him off.
Yep.
Bobby Parnell has just been moved into the starting lineup, out of your bullpen, into the starting rotation, I should say. Mike Pelfrey back with his wife, so it's like,
check
hey,
him
man,
off.
you're basically out there till you rock,
We
Livan.
need 7 from you, Livan. Come on, give it to us.
Here's Henry Blanco with 2 on and 1 out. Padres perhaps one swing away from breaking this thing wide open. When I think of guys that had to give you innings, Greg Maddux comes to mind last year after the 22-inning game, going to Arizona the next day, getting shelled in the first inning, stays in to give up 9 earned runs, and loved every minute of it.
Well, Livan is, to me, the same way. When you pitch in Colorado and pitch some of the places he pitched, and your team is not. He pitched on a lot of bad teams, and your team needs you to give them 6, 7 innings. He can do that.
Throw back to second with Alex CORA covering and Venable in just underneath the tag.
And he's an athlete. And you saw that with that move to second base, you know. Good quick move. On the same page with CORA out there at second base. Almost picked Venable off.
Blanco sends it foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, Levon had a game last year, August the 10th, against the Padres at Colorado. He lasted just 2 2/3, and the Friars had 9 earned runs on 7 hits against him. So you can see they have done this to him before. Blanco sends it off the fist. Little Texas leaguer to right. It's going to fall in front of Frank CORA. To the next station goes Venable and Headley, and they're loaded now with only 1 out for the shortstop, Everett Cabrera.
Yeah, Venable wasn't sure if that ball was going to be caught or not, so he froze. He got in on Blanco there, and he just drops it in the right field. You see him not quite sure if he was going to catch it or not, so he's only able to move up 90 feet.
Though I would argue this, if you get a good jump against a guy like Frank CORA, who when he was in Atlanta had a terrific arm, still does, I don't think you're going to send.
I don't think you are either, but you know, sometimes, you know, if he breaks right away on that ball, then we're going to have a close play at the plate. And you're up 4-0 already. And, you know, you're always going to have that question with Frank CORA out there. I mean, his reputation precedes him.
What do you think of good right field arms actively playing Brad Hopp, Jeff Frank CORA? Backhanded by CORA, lost the handle, got to hurry to get the speedy Cabrera, and he can't. A run is in, still 1 out, they're reloaded. Venable will come in to score, and that's going to make it a 5-0 ball game.
Well, this ball, CORA knew he had to hurry, and it goes in his glove and out. Cabrera's speed beats the play at first.
And when that left the bat, you just saw he's going to put the cart in front of the horse right there and try and, you know, flip it up.
It looked like he was just going to flip it without putting his hand in the glove, and it cost him.
That'll go as an E4 in the scorebook, but you can credit Cabrera with a run batted in, his 15th of the season. 5-0 now, San Diego. Clayton Richard now, with them loaded and only 1 out. Again, in a perfect world, the Mets would have Luis Castillo at second and Jose Reyes at short. That's an easy double play ball.
Yep. Well, I don't know easy because Cabrera could really run, but you would think going towards second base, a little flip, that they would have had the chance to turn to.
Elmer Descends begins an assignment. Mets selected his contract today from AAA Buffalo and brought him up. Now, if Castillo was able to go tonight, the defense would be a little bit better as well, too, with Castillo at second and CORA more comfortable over there at short.
Yeah, well, that's where he's been playing the majority of his games at short. But with the injury to Castillo, CORA the second, and Barroa goes into short.
The next pitch coming, Tony, will be the 33rd of this inning for Levon Hernandez. He's having obviously some serious command issues too. However, it looks like the two-seamer's not that bad. It's got some movement. It's darting just a bit, but you know, he can't start it enough over the plate to get it to hit the corner.
That's exactly right. And the other thing is the hitters are showing a lot of patience. They're making him come to them.
And that's a base hit for Richard out into left field. That's going to score Chase Headley. It's his first run batted in. And that makes it 6-0. I think the Mets are about ready to get on that charter and just head back.
This
This is one of those Southwest Airlines kind of want to get away nights.
Well, that's textbook hitting there by Clayton Richard. Fastball's running away. He doesn't try to pull. He stays with it. Hits it in the 5.5 hole. That's textbook right there. Foot down. Back the ball up. Take the swing.
That is his second career hit, his first career run batted in. Still one out. Bases still remain loaded. It's 6-0 San Diego.
The hitters have done a tremendous job thus far.
Tony Gwynn is the 9th Padre to come to the plate here in the 3rd. And that man, Randy Reddy, pretty proud of himself.
Well, he's got to feel pretty good. You know, hitters are showing a lot of patience. They're swinging at strikes.
And again, you know, he's had a lot of these guys at Portland over the year. They're real familiar with him.
And you see that conversation right there. You see those guys hanging around the batting coach after an AB, and they're getting, you know, some kind of nugget every day. They're getting some kind of feedback every day.
Here's the 2-0 to Tony. It's a strike. That's Angel Hernandez, by the way, calling balls and strikes behind the plate. That's a strike, 2-2. You know what I like about Clayton Richard? I mean, his disposition. He's always smiling. Somebody asks him, "Is that your first career hit?" He said, "No, second. First career RBI."
Those stakes, those RBI stakes. That's what they call them, stakes. It's his first stake.
Keep the ball on that one too.
That's a good. I don't know. Probably because he's a pitcher, he probably would.
And Tony swings and misses. He's down on strikes for the second out of the inning. Got him right there on the changeup.
Like a little backdoor breaking ball. Just a little bit out in front.
David Eckstein started this inning. He is the 10th Padre to come to the plate here in the 3rd inning. He got on with a walk and later scored on the 2-run home run by Adrian Gonzalez. 4 home here in the frame for San Diego as they lead it 6-0. Eckstein pops it up on the infield, and this should end the inning. CORA has it. 10 come to the plate for San Diego in the 3rd. The big blow. The 2-run home run by Adrian Gonzalez, his 29th of the season. After 3, 6-0 San Diego. We've moved to that part of the evening where we can throw out the Aflac trivia question for you. Tonight we ask you, who gave up Tony Gwynn's 2,000th hit? You're disqualified. But I will tell the viewers this. You knew 2,000 like that. Mm-hmm. However, 3,000 stumped you.
For a split second, yeah.
A split second, okay.
Yeah.
Wright, Francoeur, and Tatis due up here in the fourth against Clayton Richard, who's been outstanding. Is not allowed a run and has given up 2 hits. He's walked 1 and struck out 2. Here's the 1-1 home to Wright. And that's out of play 1 and 2. By the way, did you see the Prince Fielder incident?
I did.
Where he was hit by Guillermo Mota in a 17-4 game in the 9th inning and then tried to charge into the locker room. All caught on tape, by the way.
That part was surprising. You know, I understand the frustration with getting hit.
I'll show it to you.
Okay.
That's Mike, by the way, the security guard. And what offends me as a member of the media is they didn't ask him to sign in first.
Well, he said all he wanted to do was talk to him. That's all. You know, Guillermo Mota, was a teammate of his last year in Milwaukee. And I totally understand the frustration with getting hit 17-4, but, you know, you just can't try to bum rush the opponent's locker room.
2 and 2 now on David Wright. And if you've ever been to Dodger Stadium, I mean, the locker room doors are right across the hall from one another.
Yeah.
Probably only, maybe 40 feet?
Well, counting the hallway, a little bit more than that. But
swing and a miss, Wright down on strikes for the 3rd punch out of the evening by Clayton Richard. So we ask you, the Subway fan poll. It's time for the $5 footlong fan poll and your chance to win Subway's big night at the ballpark and monthly Subway footlong feast. Text the word Subway to 269-411 now for your chance to win. Here's the question. And it is, should Prince Fielder be suspended for trying to enter the Dodgers locker room after Tuesday's game? Don't forget, text the word Subway to 269-411 to play to win Subway Eat Fresh. 1 and 1 now on Jeff Francoeur. So I'm sure Mota is going to be fined by the league office. When that gets out, does Prince Fielder get a fine?
I think he gets suspended myself, but I think Mota might too, because you know every time you admit that you were throwing at somebody, you get suspended. And you know, Prince's frustration was 17-4.
On one hop, Kuz dives to his left, gets up, has to hurry, and will throw out Jeff Francoeur at first for out number 2. Well done, Kuz.
Well, Francoeur hit this ball right on the button, and Kuz on the short hop takes that ball and gets to his feet. Strong throw to first base to get Francoeur. And Kuz has made that play a couple of times here in the last 3 games. So
his defense has been outstanding this year. It's a guy that's cut down his error marks by 11 each of the last 2 years.
Well, he's been solid. There's no question. Well, that is not an easy play he just made, catching that ball on the short hop.
Broken bat, look out. Cabrera circles it, it'll go off his glove. And reaching on a 2-out error there is Fernando Tatis. Well, I know you played right field, but and never any infield, but that with a bat barreling down on you like that can't be an easy play to try and make.
Well, like that ball kind of bounced up on him, but yeah, anytime some barrel is flying out at you, Richard, the ball's hit off the end, and you see that ball kind of bounce up on him right at the end.
7th error of the season for Cabrera. That brings up Daniel Murphy now. Just to tie a bow now on the Kuzminoff defense that we spoke about. Just 3 errors in 106 games at third base. Now the other guy in the Mets uniform that plays third is always the first guy you think of with Gold Glove. Cabrera, and that got underneath his glove as he tried to backhand it. First and second with 2 outs as Murphy reaches on the single.
That was going to be a tough play. His only play probably was going to be second base, but he just couldn't get to it.
Omir Santos, the catcher, for the second time tonight. Flew out to right his first time up. It's about the time on Saturday against the Brewers where, second time through the order, where the other team started to make the necessary adjustments.
Well, he made a good pitch to Tatis, and his bat shattered, and Cabrera makes an error, and that's a ball. Murphy hits a ball sharply to short, but Cabrera almost had that ball too. Good pitch count, pretty good.
Fastball hit to second. Eckstein up with it. That will end the inning. Mets get a couple on. They leave them both after 3.5, 6-0 San Diego. Time to answer the Aflac trivia question. Who gave up Tony Gwynn's 2000th hit? Well, we know Dan Smith was 3,000. 2000, Bruce Ruffin on the Colorado Rockies, August 6, 1993. Adrian Gonzalez will start things here in the fourth for San Diego. They're up 6-0. Between innings, Clayton Richard in his second Padres start going over to Cabrera and saying, "Hey, no worries, man."
No worries.
Hernandez gets Gonzalez to roll over on one. He's out number one to open the fourth. Time for the Cabot Woodstein legendary performance. This date in baseball history, Tony Gwynn singles off of Bruce Ruffin, as you know, for career hit 2000. 6 years later, he would collect his 3,000th career hit against the Expos in Montreal. And it's a significant day.
Yeah,
too, right?
today's my mom's birthday, August 6th, so it's easy to remember. And
birthday, Mom.
I called her this morning to wish her happy birthday. She reminded me, you know what day this is? This is the day you get to 2002. So, yeah, it's always be a special day.
I was just doing a little math. I projected if you were still playing on this date, that probably would have been your 4500th hit tonight.
No,
you
I don't.
Just stuck it out.
It took me 6 years to go from 2,000 to 3,000. So, yeah, it would have been. That's pretty amazing that two guys have gotten to 4,000. That's the amazing thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, you got to play 23, 24 years.
Yeah, and hey, the way Ichiro's going, You never know. It's one thing to, to get to those milestone numbers, but you're talking about a guy averaging.
Liner right to David Wright, and Kuzmanov is retired for the second time tonight. 2 away. Well, let's show you those hits, just in case you remember. We open up the, or don't remember, we'll open up the Padre vault again. There's 2,000 down at the Q.
I couldn't understand what the fuss was about. You get to 2,000, that's where you had to get. You had to get to 3, especially if you were a contact hitter. And that ball right there, I broke my bat and was surprised to look up and see it was bouncing in the right center field. So that was a pretty cool day.
That was Kerwin Danley, right, from San Diego State.
Teammate was umping.
This is Will Venable, the batter. Kerwin get any grief for coming over and giving you?
No, he didn't. No, because like I said, I didn't even realize he was umping until he walked up to me. So that was a cool day.
Yeah, pretty emotional night as your family comes out.
Daughter, niece were there. It's hard to believe that was 10 years ago, but I guess it shouldn't be when your son's playing center field now.
I'm just impressed you guys all had the proper passports to get north of the border.
Well, that's when you didn't need one,
Well, that's right, just the driver's license.
Yeah, just the driver's license.
Might have been a different story in this day and age.
Yeah, it would have been.
Bouncing ball to second. Cora has it. And the Padres are retired in order for just the second time as Hernandez needs to give his team some innings. Maybe he got the memo. 6-0 San Diego. The Murray Lampert mid-game recap brought to you by Murray Lampert Construction. If you're looking for a company that will give you a great value, call my friends at Murray Lampert Construction, dedicated to 100% customer satisfaction since 1975. Log on to murraylampert.com. Already a couple of pitches deep as Richard wastes no time taking 8 warm-up pitches, and on 3 pitches strikes out Angel Baroa for his 4th strikeout of the evening.
We told our fan, we told you he works quickly. And this is a good sinker. Oh, out in front of it.
Livan Hernandez will be the batter now. I mean, my favorite part of coming to the game lately has been kiss cam, and he works so fast. They didn't even start kiss cam until the ball had already been thrown down to second by the catcher.
Yeah, he's on a roll. He's throwing the ball good. Really, this is the only guy he's been behind through 4 straight balls of Livan Hernandez.
Another little smirk from Richard. Story of the game has been a couple of runs in the first inning for San Diego, 4 more in the third off of Livan Hernandez, who threw 41 pitches in that third inning. Adrian Gonzalez, 3 RBI, and his 29th home run of the season. Gonzalez gloves, and Richard easily will win the foot race to the bag. And quickly there are 2 down. 4 2/3 scoreless tonight for Clayton Richard. Part of that 4-person deal. The White Sox and the Padres just before the deadline last Friday, sending Jake Peavy over. And there's a date now on perhaps when Peavy will get his first start with the White Sox, I was reading today.
Oh, really?
They're looking for that last week of August, perhaps as late as September the 3rd.
Oh, he can come back, and the White Sox are playing pretty good baseball. Took 2 or 3 from the Angels, even though they got beat today. He took 2 or 3 from the Angels. And you get a Jake Peavy in the middle of that rotation, and I kind of like the White Sox chances of making a run and winning that division.
Swing and a miss, and down on strikes goes Pagan. This kid is dealing tonight. 4.5 gone by. He's throwing a shutout. The Padres lead it 6-0.
Hey folks, I'm still on vacation, but there's always time to tell you about the best place in town. It's Valley View Casino, and it's all about details. You get the royal treatment. You'll get it at Valley View Casino. The valet, it's free. You join the Players Club, free lobster buffet. Polished silverware. This is big-time stuff, and you want to upscale? Go to Black and Blue Lounge. Great seafood, quality steaks at Valley View Casino. I like mine medium rare, so order up right now at Valley View.
Thank you kindly, Mark Grant. This is Chase Headley against Livan Hernandez as we move on to the home half of the 5th inning. Hernandez has now thrown 96 pitches, 41 of them coming in the 3rd. Blanco and then Everett Cabrera to follow. Chase Headley now with 2 extra base hits, make it 3 extra base hits in his last 2+ games.
He's starting to swing the bat good, too.
That's a good pitch right there from Hernandez.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, when this game started, Livan Hernandez knew he was going to have to give him some innings tonight. After losing Jonathan Nice yesterday and Figueroa having to come out of the bullpen and give him 4 and some change. He knew he was going to have to eat up some innings tonight. And his pitch count's this is going to be pitch number 100 right here. He hadn't been, as sharp as he could be, but sometimes, like you said, you have to take one for the team, and he's just going to, try to go as far as he can go and save that bullpen. This is the first of a 4-game series.
Full count. Been there quite a bit here this evening. Tried the inner half and missed. 4th walk of the game issued by Livan Hernandez. And the second time the Padres have had the leadoff man reach via a base on balls. and Henry Blanco will be the batter.
And like we talked about, the majority of stuff you're going to see, especially if you're a left-hand hitter, is going to be away. And every now and then he'll try to nip off that inside corner, and he just hadn't been as sharp location-wise as
he needs a two-seamer now to try and get a double play ball here. You were talking about Jonathan Neese. They had him going down yesterday. Did the splits at first, covering the bag. That looked painful enough. However, if you saw his warm-up pitch afterwards on the mound, completely collapsed. The hamstring tore off the bone.
Wow.
Blanco to the gap in left center. That's going to get down. Will it get all the way to the wall? It most certainly will. Headley around third on his way home. He's going to score without a throw, and the Padres lead it 7-0. Henry Blanco's got a two-hit game.
Well, he got a ball up, but Henry knew what to do with it, lined it in the gap in left center field. See, that ball is up in the zone. He wanted to get in on him, and instead it's up. And he lines it into the 401 sign. Chase Headley able to race around the bases and score.
Nobody out. Cabrera the batter with Blanco in scoring position. A first pitch hack by Cabrera is sent out of play. It's going to start Elmer Descends back in that bullpen to loosen up. Cabrera on a couple of hops to short. Baroa has it and will throw out Cabrera. He's 0 for 3 in this one. And they will keep Blanco at second. One away. Here comes the pitcher, Clayton Richard, who last time up delivered an RBI single, his first run batted in as a major leaguer. Boy, until you stand next to him, you don't realize just how big this kid is.
Yeah, he's a big kid.
And he pulls one down to first. Murphy has it on a couple of hops. He'll call off Hernandez, and they're 2 away. Advancing to third will be Blanco. Well, here's tonight's Energy Resource Center Power Player answer. Which former Padre power hitter was drafted to the NBA is also the only player to ever be traded for dinner? The answer would be Dave Winfield.
He's the only
didn't
one
hear that story.
I knew he had been drafted in the NBA, but
traded for dinner? That must have been an ABA story or something that I'm not familiar with. I'll have to introduce myself to Dave.
We'll have to ask.
Maybe the Vikings. He was drafted in 4, right? ABA, NBA. That's sent out to left field. It's going to be caught for the final out. Fernando Tatis in left has it. However, San Diego adds one more on the Henry Blanco RBI double. And after 5-7-0 Padres. Hey, Padre fans, you're looking for a great deal? I have one in my hand. Coca-Cola Value Weekends. You can get an upper reserve ticket, a hot dog, a Coke for only $12 for any Friday through Sunday regular season home game. Get your tickets early and save at Padres.com. Bottom of the 6th. Clayton Richard still on the hill. His opening start against the Brewers. This is exactly where he was. Did not get through the 6th against the Brewers. He'll face Cora Wright and Frank Core in this 6th inning.
Well, thus far, he's just been sharper, I would say. 74 pitches, majority of those strikes. And as soon as you say that, he falls behind 3-0.
Again, as I had mentioned at the outset of this broadcast, first 10 hitters on Saturday, first pitch strikes. Second half, wasn't the case, and Cora draws a leadoff walk. It is the second of the ballgame issued by Richard. We talked about this, the Mets being besieged by injuries, 10 guys on the DL, contracts totaling $60 million. Got Beltran, Delgado, Maine, Martinez, a couple of Martinez's. Nice, Nieve, Putz, Jose Reyes, Billy Wagner, a lot of all-stars on there as well.
All-stars, yep.
There's David Wright, who, although there hasn't been ample protection around him, still managing to hit .328 with 8 homers and 54 runs batted in.
And Wright's a good player. And, like I said, Jerry Manuel, when they put this team together, this team has been together for a while. Unfortunately for Jerry, the last week of September is when they hadn't been able to put it together the last couple of years. And when this year started, they felt like they were going to be a team that was right there in the thick of things.
And again, earlier in this broadcast, we talked about them not doing anything at the trade deadline, which was last Friday. And they didn't do anything because of a couple of trains of thought. And one is they liked the prospects that everybody wanted back in a deal. That was one. You don't want to part with your best prospects if you can avoid it. And then secondly, they just thought to themselves, hey, you know what? We're going to get back an all-star center fielder without giving anything up. And we might get back an all-star shortstop without giving anything up. And a slugging first baseman. And a 7th or 8th inning specialist. So if we just waited out a couple of weeks, unfortunately, a lot of guys like Reyes, their rehabilitation hasn't gone as planned.
It hadn't gone as well as they thought it would. And the other thing is, Philly got high. Philly started playing some really good baseball because that East was bunched up, pretty tightly at one point, and then right after the break, the Phillies got hot and started playing really good baseball, and now, they've opened up some distance between them and everybody else.
2-2 to right, outside. It's a full count now again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And that is back-to-back walks issued by Clayton Richard to open the inning. And that's going to prompt a meeting on the mound. Darren Balsley will stroll to the mound as Richard walks back-to-back batters, giving him 3 base on balls now in the game. You see a lot of these starting pitchers. I think Bob Scanlon the other day, we were talking about this on postgame, is it's the 5th inning normally where you go, okay, if I just make it over this hump right now and it's an official game and I'll have enough innings for the win. And I don't want to use the term lose focus just a bit.
Well, I'm not going to. I just think that, at times he needs to let his sinker work for him instead of, just use the center of the plate as a guide and let the sinker work. His ball's got great movement, so he doesn't have to be perfect with his location, Let that downward movement work for you. And especially with this part of the Met lineup, there are some aggressive swingers in there. There are Frank Core and Tatis. They're going to be very aggressive.
That's into center field. That's going to be a base hit. Alex Cora will stop at third. Then they'll send him after Gwynn bobbles it in center. The Mets are on the board. It's 7-1. That's going to be a single and an error on GWYNN in center. Moving to second and stopping there is David Wright.
Well, Frank CORA hit a pretty good sinker. The bottom of the strike zone. You see Anthony tried to take that ball on the short hop. The ball was hit so hard, CORA wasn't even going to try to score. So he really didn't have to charge that. He could have stayed back on it, but tried to take it on the short hop. And gets the E. And now the Mets got something going.
Fernando Tatis, the batter now. Just in case you're scoring with us, no RBI credited to Frank CORA. Wright's at second, Frank CORA down at first. Swing and a miss by Tatis. No balls and 2 strikes.
Like back-to-back changeups there by
Luke Gregerson starts to loosen up down in San Diego's bullpen. We saw Burke stretching a moment ago. Went upstairs with a fastball and missed. Good idea after the back-to-back changeups.
Yep.
Nearly had him to go for it. Low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. This was the inning on Saturday night against the Brewers that gave Richard fits. See how he navigates the 6th here 5 days later. And that went back up the middle. That's the ground ball he wanted. It's into center field. That's going to score David Wright. To third goes Frank CORA. And it's a little bit tighter now. It's 7-2. Tatis has his 2nd hit of the ball game, his 26th RBI of the season. Well, that's tough because I think if Richard gets the glove down, we've got an opportunity there to get a ground ball double play.
Well, it wasn't that bad of a pitch. Sinker down, and he almost came up with that. Instead, it rolls right back up the middle for a base hit. And the Mets are right back in this game. And 1st and 3rd and nobody out.
Daniel Murphy now. Murphy took over at first base for Carlos Delgado. Had problems with his right hip. He's been on the disabled list since May the 11th. He's actually on the 60-day DL. Tries to catch the corner and misses. Falls behind again. A recurring theme. Hit to second, could be a double play ball to Cabrera for 1 on to first. They get the double play ball. A run will score in Frank CORA. The Mets have pulled within 4. But that's exactly what Richard wanted.
Yeah, this ball is up. And Murphy hit it pretty sharply, but right at Eckstein. Over to Cabrera on to Gonzalez for the double play. So that situation, you'll trade the run for 2 outs. Clear the bases up and hopefully get yourself out of the inning.
Omir Santos, the batter now. The strike 1 pitch home to him. And quickly, Richard gets ahead. No balls and 2 strikes with a nice breaking ball there. Well, Buddy had said there's a better breaking ball somewhere in there. Have you seen it here tonight?
He's thrown a couple. But, it's almost like, with guys on base, he doesn't want to throw it. He throws the sinker. He threw a couple of change-ups there to Tatis. At some point, you're gonna have to throw it, in those situations where there's ducks on the pond.
few guys survive in the league with just 2 pitches.
Can't do it. Yeah, well, it's. I'm not going to say you can. It just makes it's very difficult. You're going to have to throw that breaking ball. You're going to have a little bit more confidence in the changeup.
Big pitch coming here on 3-2, and he lost in ball 4. His 3rd walk of the inning, his 4th of the game. And here comes Bud Black, and that will be it for Clayton Richard. So he went 5 2/3 in his debut for San Diego, and that's exactly where he's going to go tonight. 5 2/3. This pitching change brought to you by Discount Tire. Stop by Discount Tire for a free tire inspection and air gauge. And if you're not satisfied with one of their tires, please feel free to bring it back. Union proudly supporting our hometown Padres with over 20 branches in San Diego County. Our mission is your mission. Here's Luke Gregerson for the 43rd time this season out of the Padre pen.
Yeah, you see his numbers 0-3. Opponent's hitting .233. He last pitched against the Brewers on the 2nd of August. In the 3rd of an inning, gave up 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned in a strikeout. And so Clayton Richard gives us 5 2/3. Ran into a little trouble here in the 6th inning, and you hope Gregerson here could get this last out of the inning.
1 on, 2 outs here in the top half of the 6th. 3 runs home for the Mets. They were down 7-0 to start this inning. It's got a little tighter. I think a lot of people are familiar with the splits. Gregerson pitching lights out at home. Struggles a bit on the road. He's been unscored upon in 10 of his last 11 appearances. Not much on Jerry Manuel's bench here today because of the injuries, but Jeremy Reed has grabbed a bat. And just in case this inning goes any further, Reed would pinch hit for Levon Hernandez, the pitcher. And Gregerson is a strike away from getting out of this 3-run 6th.
And when Gregerson's good, he usually has the good slider.
There's that slider again. He fouled it off. On the bench for Jerry Manuel, Gary Sheffield with a hammy. We're not going to see him. Luis Castillo with a sprained ankle. Not going to see him. So basically you're down to 3 lefties. Reed, Corey Sullivan, and your backup catcher, Brian Snyder.
You're always going to be hesitant to use your backup catcher because.
So yeah, you're basically down to 2, and your bullpen's a bit depleted too. Slider again, got him to pop it up on the infield. Eckstein underneath it, and the inning is over. Gregerson shuts the door on the Mets here in the 6th. New York does get 3 to get it a little tighter. Score. This gives me an opportunity to remind you about Breakfast at the Park. The Padres invite you to enjoy Sunday breakfast at the park. Enjoy specialty breakfast items at select concession stands. Every Sunday home game, you can enjoy your breakfast from tables on the outfield warning track or the batter's eye porch before the game. Get there early. Seating is first come, first serve at the Park at the Park gates, which open at 10:30. Visit Padres.com/breakfast for more details. Elmer Descends just had his contract purchased by the Mets from AAA Buffalo of the International League. He's been up a couple of times this season. He takes over here in the 6th.
Might recognize the name. He's pitched with the Astros and the Dodgers and the Reds.
He was the closer in Buffalo, 11 saves. Eckstein hits it on the ground to short. Baroa makes quick work, and that is that for Eckstein here in the 6th. Adrian Gonzalez will be the batter. He's had a big night. He's driven in 3 of the 7 for San Diego to run his RBI total now to 64 on the year. Boy, Descends 13 major league seasons. The back of that bubblegum card is loaded with teams and former employers. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Arizona, Dodgers, Kansas City, Milwaukee, Colorado, Atlanta. Now the Mets.
I said Houston. Arizona was who I was thinking of.
Didn't stay long enough to get a gold watch anywhere, but 13 big league seasons is pretty admirable.
Yeah, no question.
Gonzalez fights off a 1-1 pitch. 5 innings for Livan Hernandez, which roughed up for 7 runs. But does, I think, what Jerry Manuel wanted him to do, at least midway through that 3rd inning, is, hey, at least get us into the 6th inning.
Yeah. And that's really Yoma's work by Livan Hernandez.
Adrian pops it up into left field. Tatis started in, now has to go back. And that's out number 2. Kevin Kuzminoff will be the batter. He's singled in 3 trips, also has a run batted in. Tomorrow night we get to see the ex-Padre, Oliver Perez, who they gave a ton of money to in the offseason. 2-3 with a 7.03 ERA. And Kevin Correa going for San Diego. Well, that's another thing. There was just such high expectations on this team. You know?
Yeah.
Go out, you get K-Rod, you give him all the money, make the deal with Seattle to get puts, solidify your pen. You don't expect to sit here in August at 51 and 56, but
well, when
nobody can control injuries.
When you looked at this club, I mean, you know, that's where the weakness was in the bullpen, and they addressed that. They went out and got Putz, went out and got K-Rod. You know, they re-signed Oliver Perez, thinking.
That's into center field. That's going to fall for a base hit. Multi-hit game for Kevin Kuzminoff, a 2-out knock.
And thinking that he was going to be a 4 or 5 starter. You know, you got Johan Santana at the top of that rotation. He had, well, jams Kuzminoff a little bit, but he's strong enough to get it out to the outfield. And so, again, you can't foresee these injuries that they've gone through, that they've had. And, you know, I know New York Met fans are frustrated right now because they had high expectations for this club.
Will Venable, the batter.
They say their payroll was $135 million, I think it was. Second highest in the National League.
You know, and you go into your new stadium, you know, you want to be firing on all cylinders, to borrow the cliche. Just not the case.
High expectations.
You just reminded me about that bullpen last year. Boy, they were
came down to the last week, the last 2 years. The last week they had a lead. 2 years ago, it came down to the last day.
You know, and you got the money to fix the problem. You identify the problem. Right. You have the money to fix the problem. You get it done. Your closer goes down with Tommy John surgery. So you get another one for $55 million over 3 years. And you're underachieving. You really got to feel for those Mets.
Well,
Not too long.
The other thing is, and I bring this up because I can just criticize when I played, the New York fan expects a lot. You know, they know their teams, and they expect a lot. There's a pressure that comes with that.
Venable in the air to left. Tatis over for it. He'll make the catch. Padres go quietly here in the sixth. 7-3 San Diego. Brought to you by Heineken. Give yourself a good name. By Aflac. We've got you under our wing. And by the North County Transit District. From North County, take the coaster train to every home game at Petco Park. Alongside Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn, I'm Steve Gwiss in tonight for Mark Neely. Had a couple of significant streaks in this week. Adrian Gonzalez, 314 in a row. And I think Mark Neely had broadcast 93 straight to open his Padre career. Getting a much-deserved day off. Everybody needs a breather in this league.
Absolutely.
From the concession worker to that man.
Now you're going to get people to argue that. Now.
Our director, although it appears on some nights he is taking the night off. Wait a minute, is that red cough button? Why is mine not working? Luke Gregerson gets a second inning of relief here in the seventh. Jeremy Reed is the pinch hitter batting for the pitcher descends. Not many options, as we mentioned, left for Jerry Manuel after this. Pulled on the right side. Eckstein has it. Gregerson has to get there in a hurry and will do so. That's out number one to open up the Mets half of the seventh.
They made that play look so easy, too, because that ball's hit right between Eck and Gonzalez, and Gonzalez broke for it, and he knew that he wasn't going to be able to get back to first. But Luke Gregerson going to cover first base like he should, able to get over there. Eck leads him perfect, and you get the out.
Mets not doing a lot tonight with the elevated pitches. It's another one that was up there in the zone. Back to the top of the lineup, Angel Pagan set to hit.
And Angel Pagan, switch hitter, was going to go up to the plate left-handed with a right-handed helmet up. Realize, hey, wait a minute, I'm going up here left-handed.
Right. Got a new guy on the hill now. Showing bunt. Pulls it back. 1 ball and no strikes. Both teams have had big innings. In the case of the Mets, they had 3 runs in the 6th. Padres got 4 in the 3rd. The big blow was the 2-run home run by Adrian Gonzalez, but there were 3 walks in that inning issued by Livan Hernandez, and all 3 of them came back to score. As a matter of fact, 4 Padre walks tonight have come around to score.
Well, that's what we talked about at the beginning, was that the Padre hitters were going to have to be patient, and they showed a lot of patience, and they were rewarded. put some early runs on the board.
Just in case you didn't hear our top story, that man today rewarded with a 1-year contract extension for 2010 with a club option for 2011. And the Padres also traded pitcher Chad Godin to the New York Yankees for a player to be named later or cash considerations. That's in the air to left. Headley over for it. 2 outs. I guess since we're at the top of the hour now, it's like our news update, right? Straight up 9 o'clock here on the West Coast. Traffic and weather together on the 3s.
I'm just sitting here thinking, I wonder what cash considerations for, player to be named later.
I need some
cash considerations.
Just take a look at another ex-Padre, Tim Redding. Readying in the Mets bullpen for the 8th inning, or check that, make it the bottom of the 7th. We still never figured out why Dave Winfield got traded for dinner.
Yeah, I'm going to have to find out.
Line shot out of the reach of the leaping Everett Cabrera out in the left field. It's a 2-out single for Cora. He's been on base twice tonight. That is the 6th hit for the Mets as we play here in the top of the 7th.
Everett almost got up high enough to get it. And that ball was hitting really hard. Headley had to hurry up to get over to cut this ball off. For a split second, it looked like it might get into the gap, but Headley was able to cut it off and get it back in.
The dangerous David Wright at the plate now with a man on and 2 outs.
David Wright not hitting with the power he had shown in his first 3 years. He's been a good RBI guy.
Of course, you look at the home runs. He sits here in August with just 8, and they've got a new field, which is much more pitcher-friendly than Shea Stadium ever was. But talking to the Mets announcers, they say, well, maybe 5 or 6 would have gone out at Shea that didn't go out at Citi Field. Well, that would get him to about 13. Again, I think there's some protection issues as well.
Well, he's definitely the guy in that lineup right now when you're not going to let him beat you.
Exactly.
Especially with all these guys being hurt. In those tight games.
I bet you if you went back and counted, he's probably looked at 20, 21 pitches already tonight in what is now his 4th plate appearance.
Well, he ought to get used to that until some of these guys start to come back. 63 walks this year for David Wright, along with 97 punch-outs.
You might want to schedule breakfast with Adrian Gonzalez. The two can discuss strategies of trying to pick out that one pitch you get per at-bat. Big breaking ball, swing and a miss. Got him on the 84-mile-per-hour slider. I think he was expecting fastball. And Gregerson gets out of the 7th. 7-3 San Diego. With 4 locations. Check out fandiego.com for ceiling fans. Go to Fan Diego. 18,880 in Petco Park here on this Thursday evening. Game 1 of a 4-game series, and they're having a good time tonight. We welcome Tim Redding to the proceedings. This is his 18th appearance of the season. They've used him out of the bullpen. He's also been a starter for a while.
You see, 1-4 record, 6.57 ERA. Opponent's hitting .285.
And the first one to greet him here to open the home half of the 7th is Headley. He'll be followed by Blanco and Cabrera.
You asked why David Wright was upset. That's a hanging breaking ball right there, and he just swung underneath it. And he shows his frustration. Because in the big leagues, that's a ball that gets hammered. And, boy, he slammed his bat, slammed his helmet.
Headley's been on base all 3 times tonight. Having a very good homestand. And that got Santos. And he'll get an extra second now to shake it off as Angel Hernandez goes to the mound. Tim Redding used to be a Padre, was traded to the Yankees, along with Darrell May right during the 2004 season. Really done a nice job resurrecting his career.
Well, he was another one of those guys they signed late, thinking that he could go to the back end of their rotation.
Two balls and 2 strikes now. Pulled on the right side. Murphy over for it. Redding covering, and Headley is retired for the first time tonight. That'll bring up Henry Blanco. Mike Adams starting to loosen up. He should get the 8th inning tonight. He's been outstanding. Redding was a member of the Padres in 2005. Not a memorable stay. 0-5 with a 9.10 ERA in 9 games that year. But really turned things around in Washington last season. Wound up winning in double figures. Went 10-11 with an ERA under 5. Made 33 starts. Started his big league career in 2001 with the Houston Astros.
Fastball's going to be in the low 90s, little breaking ball that you're seeing.
Padres wound up getting Paul Quantrill from the New York Yankees in that deal. Here's the 2-1 plate. We're to Blanco, and CORA trying to deny Blanco a 3-hit ball game save. He juggled it, did Murphy at first, and Blanco is on. What a game for Henry Blanco, his 3rd hit of the ball game.
Well, CORA made a nice play on this ball. Blanco hits it right between Redding's legs. CORA tried to get the perfect one-hop throw to first, but Murphy couldn't hold on to it. And because of degree of difficulty, Blanco gets the hit. My favorite kind of hit. I love those.
Couple of singles and a double with an RBI for Blanco. Everett Cabrera now from the left side. He's 0 for 3 with a run batted in. Edward Mojica joins Adams in the bullpen. Figure if the Padres get a couple of more runs, they'll probably save Adams and go with Mojica. Second 3-hit game this season for Henry Blanco. Cabrera stays alive on an 0-2 pitch. Grabbing a bat and going out on deck is Oscar Salazar. He will hit for the pitcher's spot here in the 7th. One and two now. You know, if I may, can I wrap up the Winfield traded for dinner story?
Please do.
August 94, you know, the strike year. He gets sent from Minnesota to Cleveland for cash considerations or a player to be named later, and the season gets canceled because of the strike. And they had to do something to settle that bet with the commissioner's office. And that's a base hit out of the right field. Blanco to second. He'll hold there, and Cabrera has his first hit of the game. Padres in double figures again with hits, 11, and it's been a recent trend here on this homestand.
Cabrera got a ball that he could handle. He put a nice swing on that last pitch. See, that ball's up and in the middle of the plate, hanging change up, stays back on it and lines it in the right field.
So my understanding is the executives, to settle the score and the Winfield thing, went to dinner in the offseason with the Cleveland executives buying dinner for the Twins executives. So there's something you may not have known.
I certainly didn't know.
And if you hadn't heard that story, because Dave's here, you know, every day.
I had never heard that story. And, of course, if you get traded, you're not going to go around and tell people you've been traded for dinner.
No.
You know, I've heard of people being traded for, you know, exercise equipment and stuff like that.
Shout out to right field. Frank CORA has it fall in front of him. Blanco to third, and he'll hold, and the throw on line to Santos, who was blocking the play. And the Padres have the bases loaded with one out. Pinch hit single for Salazar. He comes through yet again in a pinch hit roll.
Yeah, he's been really good coming off the bench. He's had a couple of big hits here in this homestand. Here's a ball up in the zone again. He doesn't try to pull it. He goes with it. And here's why we were talking about not sending the runner earlier, because Frank Cora's got an unbelievable arm.
8 outfield assists amongst the top 5 of the National League. So here's Tony Gwynn up with the bases loaded for the second time in this game. And he looks at a fastball inside at 93. 1 ball and no strikes.
Chance to get some of those runs back. He gave up in the 6th inning.
2 balls and no strikes. You sitting fastball right here?
No, I'm not. He's in trouble right now. I'm going to make him throw me a strike. That's me.
A little aggressive.
And, you know, like most hitters, most young hitters especially. 2-0, you're looking for a cookie. He comes back with a 2-0 changeup. And he cues this ball foul. And so now 2-0. You're looking fastball. He throws you changeup. So now what are you going to look for? So, you know, to me, I'm going to make him throw me something over the plate and hopefully get it elevated so I could get it to the outfield.
Three balls and 1 strike.
And Anthony swung 2-0, fouled it off. You know, now takes a ball. So again, he's in a hitter's camp, 3-1. There you go.
Ball 4, bases loaded, walk. And the Padres get an 8th run. And Gwynn gets his 11th RBI of the season. Everybody moves up 90 feet.
And that's a free one. Well, we've gotten some balls up in the zone in this inning, and guys have hit the ball hard. That's a good AB. I want to make sure he gets me something good to hit. If not, I'll take the walk.
5 walks tonight by Mets pitching. As we had stated earlier, 4 of them have come back to score. David Eckstein with his 5th plate appearance of the game. Grounded right back to the mound. Redding going home for one. Santos to first. And they turn the 1-2-3 double play. And Redding is out of the 7th. 7 complete. Padres get one more, and they lead at 8-3. Budget, you betcha. Satisfy both with Sycuan Casino's incredible all-you-can-eat prime rib buffet for now only $10. Back at Petco Park, shade under 19,000 in the ballpark, and to get the 8th tonight for Bud Black is Mike Adams.
Mike Adams is throwing the ball extremely well. See the numbers? Opponent's hitting a .133, and really the 8th inning has kind of become his inning. You know, as the bridge to get the Heath Bell. Last time out, gets the Braves in the opening game of that series. Winning inning, struck out 2.
Here in the 8th inning, the Mets are going to be down 5. They'll send Francoeur, Tatis, and Murphy to the plate against Adams. And a hard fastball misses. Popped him up on the infield right side. Adrian has it, 1 out. Look who's here. Embattled Mets general manager Omar Minaya, sitting to the right of us. It has been just, boy, a strange last 10 days for him. You could almost say the Mets are a lot like the Kardashian family. A little dysfunctional here in the last 10 days with stuff that's gone on in their front office. Just had to fire their VP of player personnel, Tony Bernazard, for a couple of incidents, most egregious of which visited the struggling Double-A team in Binghamton, removed his shirt, and then threatened to fight a lot of the players. The batter is Fernando Tatis. And Minaya and Bernazard had been good friends. He had to part ways with his friend. And then really a bizarre turn in the media happening, a couple of days after the firing of Bernazard. And I'll share that with you after the 0-1 pitch here to Tatis. Minaya lashed out at a reporter who first reported the Binghamton incident and did it in a live news conference with the reporter present. Something I've never seen before. Guy Adam Rubin, a Mets beat writer, in the back of the room, shocked look on his face. And Minaya saying that it appeared that Ruben had an agenda of sorts because he wanted to get a job with the Mets in player development. Manaea saying the beat reporter had often asked him about how to get a job in baseball. And it was an ugly situation. Omar later apologized, but it's something that's been following him around for the last week to 10 days. Strike 3 called. Fernando Tatis down on strikes.
It's a good pitch here by Mike Adams. Well, inside out the fastball, right at the knees, inside corner.
2 outs, bases empty. Here's Daniel Murphy, the first baseman. You know, it's interesting now when Manaea has to speak to the media, he's flanked by a couple of public relations guys. That was duly noted in the paper, yeah. Including their vice president of communications, at least until it all dies down. But if you go to like a Deadspin.com and take a look at the press conference, I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I haven't.
Don't do it right now while you're watching us.
No, I don't. My computer's in my bag.
It's unbelievable. But I have not seen an exchange like that. One ball and one strike on Murphy as we play here in the top of the 8th. 8-3 Padres.
Well, again, it's a different game. It's not. I know it's not the same game I played. And the way they cover the game, the way people cover the game, it's instant. You know, computers and texting and tweeting and all that stuff. You know, I mean, people can get information right away. There's cameras everywhere. When I first broke in, it was one game in a week. You weren't on TV every night. So it was always the written word. And those guys were, you know, they were important people. They were the ones who got the information out there. But now it's different. You can watch the games on TV, on your computer, on your phone.
I had never seen anything like that.
Well,
to go out there and call a guy out by his name while he's there in the press conference.
I mean, we've seen some things here in the last couple of years you just don't see very often. Like you're describing, we saw Prince trying to get into the opposition's locker room. And
you know, I probably would have run away, you know, and hid in the back of the room. But to Adam's credit, he said, wait a minute, are you suggesting that I have an agenda here with my stories? That's going to get into center field for a 2-out base hit off the bat of Murphy. He's got a pair of knocks in this game. 7 hits now for the Mets. And Omir Santos with a chance here. 1 on, 2 outs in the 8th. Do you let the kids tweet at San Diego State?
Well,
I know the Chargers.
I don't know what that is. I think it's
you better
that
find out
instant
here
thing.
shortly.
I don't even know. I don't. You know, once you come to baseball, well, you turn your phones off. We're here to work.
It's going to get out of play.
But you know, it's. I mean, however it happens, the tweeting thing. However it happens. People have access to it, and they tell you who'd sent it.
Look at what's happened at the Chargers facility here the last couple of weeks. Antonio Cromartie getting
I heard about that.
banged for $2,500 for complaining about the food.
So you should know better than that. Yeah.
I think ESPN has banned their reporters too. It's on the ground to short. Cabrera will go the easy way to Eckstein, and they will force out Murphy to end the inning. 7.5 gone by. The Padres continue to lead the Mets 8-3. for your chance to win the Jerome's Best Seat online at jeromes.com. When you pay the lowest price on your new furniture, that's Jerry's price. And those fans enjoying themselves down there in left field. New pitcher for the Mets, Sean Green, will take over here in the 8th inning. He's a guy, Tony, that's really been struggling with his control of late.
And you see the numbers, and that would tell you why. ERA is 5.06. 48 innings, 46 hits. Decent numbers, opponent batting average. And he'll go through 3, 4, 5 through the Padre lineup here.
Gonzalez, Kuzminoff, and Venable trying to get some insurance runs here. Padres lead at 8-3. First of 4 against the Mets. San Diego's trying to win 6 in a row here at Petco Park against the Mets. They had a big 4-game series here last year.
Yeah, and they swept them all, and they've had a lot of success against them here at home.
Gonzalez first pitch swinging without the shift, pulls it to CORA, the second baseman. 1 pitch, 1 away. And that'll give way to Kevin Kuzminoff. It's just been a location thing for Green here of late. Last Friday night, he was trying to keep the Diamondbacks and Mets in a 2-2 tie and wound up uncorking a wild pitch in the back third of that game, which led to the third and final run for Arizona. And the Diamondbacks won 3-2. 2 pitches, he's going to have 2 outs.
Well, you check up 2 sinker balls and you get 2 ground balls. Doesn't get much easier than that.
Very Maddox-esque right there.
That's pretty good for your confidence.
Here's Venable. I was perusing the notes today. You might be able to make an argument for this kid winning the National League Player of the Week honors. It's unbelievable what he has done over the course of the last week. 13 for 27, 5 homers, 12 RBIs, 7 runs scored.
13 for 27, you said?
13 for 27. Now you update the numbers now. It's going to go down a little bit. He'll be 13 for 30 now. With 8 runs scored.
You said, okay.
Good week's work.
Yeah, well,
he's getting a steady big league paycheck.
Exactly, and getting some, and more importantly, he's going to get some steady playing time. Had a couple of games this week where he's been in the 3-hole and been productive. He's swinging the bat with a lot more confidence right now.
After recording 2 outs on 2 pitches, Green has now fallen behind 3 balls and a strike on Venable. Back full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Mets pitching has walked 5 tonight. 4 have come around to score. Pulled to first. Murphy will call off Green, and hopefully that's the last we see of the Padres hitting this evening. We head to the top of the 9th. 8-3 San Diego. Coming up tonight, right after the conclusion of postgame at San Diego News Now, a unique partnership between NBC 739 and Channel 4 San Diego. News of the day and reporting from the San Diego Insider team. San Diego News Now follows postgame tonight on Channel 4. Edward Mojica takes over here in the 9th inning for the Padres. He's the third reliever used. Clayton Richard, 5 2/3 tonight, stands to get his first win as a member of the Padres if Mojica can hold it. He's got a 5-run cushion here.
Yeah, got a 5-run cushion, and the big thing is just work ahead, throw strikes.
Angel Baroa will start things here in the 9th inning. Then we'll have a pinch hitter. Brian Schneider has grabbed a bat. Check that. Corey Sullivan has grabbed a bat, and he would be the pinch hitter. And we go back to the top of the lineup, and Angel Pagan. That's a foul ball. 0-2 on Baroa to open up the 9th.
Tried to check his swing, and
at first I thought he got off the knob there. But
looked like it might have hit him in the elbow, too. And
bullpen hasn't given up a run here tonight. Gregerson an inning and a third scoreless. Baroa down on strikes. Adams a scoreless 8th, and Mojica a good start to the 9th.
I knew Gregerson did a nice job for an inning and 2/3 too, getting Richard out of that jam in the 6th inning. So you're right, the bullpen's been super. And with the 5-run lead, you see Mojica here in the 9th instead of Heath Bell, but
here's the pinch hitter, Corey Sullivan. Into left. That's going to fall for a base hit. 1 out, 1 on. And game 2 of this 4-game series is tomorrow night. We remind you to tune in for tomorrow's pregame show. Brought to you by your Honda dealers of San Diego County. Easy on gas, easy on the planet. Stop by one of our 9 dealerships today. Again, that's Oliver Perez with the ERA above 7. He goes for the New York Mets. And the Padres are going to send to the hill opposite him Kevin Correa.
I'll tell you what, it just doesn't seem to matter what uniform Corey Sullivan has. He just always seems to have good at-bats against the Pods.
He's going from first. There's no throw. Fielder's indifference. Man in scoring position now for Pagan, who's singled in 4 trips. Yeah, I always liked him when he was a member of the Colorado Rockies.
He's always seemed to have swung the bat really good against the Padres. And, with the injury problems the Mets have, maybe an opportunity for him to get some at-bats here. Tonight they saw the left-handed Richard. Tomorrow they'll see Correa.
Might this be the last pitch of the game? Or close to the last pitch of the game. Swing and a miss, 2 outs. 2 strikeouts for Mojica. That was anticipating that line him out, throw him out double play. Yeah, that's the ticket.
Well, he's trying to bounce back from not too good of an outing. On the 4th of August, he gave up 5 hits and 4 runs. And so he's looking to bounce back.
Cora looks at a first pitch strike. That'll be interesting to see what kind of a lineup the Mets field in game 2 tomorrow. Still with Castillo day-to-day, Sheffield day-to-day.
Well, I'm sure it'll be like it was today. It'll be filled with a couple of spots, and they'll have to wait and see if Chef's hammy's going to be good enough for him to play, and Castillo's ankle.
Well, there's going to be a lot of news, too, because Anderson Hernandez picked up in a post-waiver wire trade today, so they'll have to make a move to get him on the roster. And now the Mets are down to their final strike here on Thursday night. In the air to left. Headley over for it, and the Padres win it. They take game one of this 4-game series. The Pen going 3 1/3, and that man hitting his 29th home run of the season to tie him with Adam Gunn for third most home runs in the National League.
Good all-around win for the Padres. They did